Two dudes with attitudes, let's go. It's the two dudes and our attitudes ruthless, aggressively speaking, so let's do this. We're Ryan and Denton, they here to get your attention. The 5-star broadcast, shit, start to the ending. Whether it's the E or it's all E, the two dudes with the attitudes to bring the heat. Get the point, yeah, it's on, time to lock in. Listen to the podcast where they get it poppin'.
Thank you for tuning in to Two Dudes with Attitudes of Wrestling podcast with Ryan Enjoys Wrestling and MWO. And this is our AEW edition where we're going to cover all things Collision, Dynamite, and all of our segments. What is going on, Ryan? How you doing? How you feeling? I heard you're in snow. You're building a snow. Do you want to build a snowman?
Come on, let's go and play.
You only know fathers know that ish. Yeah.
Yeah, we hear it on repeat around here. But no, it's cold and it's right now I think it's freezing rain outside. So it was snowing, but now it's turned to sleet or freezing rain. I don't really know the difference between the two, but yeah, it's cold. So we're in the middle.
Now where I am,
Arctic vortex.
That's crazy. Now where I am, everything's on fire, burning, and it's super windy and not cold. So yeah, weird how the world's changed. Yeah. As we said in the last episode of WWE, prayers up to everyone in California. I'm not affected by it. Well, I am, but not really. My house is still here, and I'm not one to get a pity party, but prayers to everybody who's lost homes and so on. It's tragic. It's awful, devastating. I'm not here to point blame because that's stupid. Fires happen just like hurricanes and tornadoes happen. It's sad. But yeah, hopefully hopefully we can get this beautiful state built back up after all this, if we can make it through this. So yeah. I mean, once again, we haven't had rain in forever. And I just talked about that like 5 days ago. And then all these fires happen. Because that's how fires work, right? Our ground is dry, super dry. The deserts, all the brush blows together, sparks fires, and then it's gone. So it's sad.
And it's crazy that, it just shows you how fragile everything is, because we were just celebrating the debut episode of Raw on Netflix in Los Angeles on Monday night. Yeah. And then New Year's Eve was on Tuesday night, also in Los Angeles at the
when Shrine. It was going on.
When it was going on. And then all we've heard about since then are these crazy fires going on. So it just shows you how quickly things can change in the blink of an eye.
Yeah. It's sad. Life is fragile, man. Love your loved ones and love everything you have. All right, but with that said, it is AEW time, and we have two dudes, the dudes, read the news. What do you got for us, AEW edition, Ryan?
Yeah, so some breaking news that came out of Dynamite this past Wednesday, but it looks like Malakai Black is done in AEW. And normally, when these reports come out, he is the first one to go on Instagram and debunk them by saying, "Oh, I've signed with AEW. I'm an AEW guy. I'm here for the end. Like, if you don't hear it from me, don't believe it." And yet this report came out on Wednesday. Here we are Friday night, and he hasn't debunked anything. He's been radio silent on social media. So I think there might be some truth to this. But apparently those in AEW believe that he is done with the organization. Apparently he did have a 5-year contract that he signed, but the last 2 years are option years. And so his contract is up now. And if he wants to opt in, then he can. And then he had to have the option to opt out next year as well. But it looks like by everything we're seeing, he is done with AEW. He is wrapped up. He might come back for like one more feud or something, but he is expected to be finished with the company around February or March is what I'm hearing. And then Zelina Vega, his wife, is in WWE. So I highly anticipate him going back to WWE, maybe entering the Royal Rumble.
Malakai or Alistar, we'll see. But here's my thing, right?
He'll be Aleister Black.
Yeah, here's my thing, right? These idiots on social media rumoring that he was going to leave or whatever, and he comes out because he debunked him before, and I think it was Sean Ross Sapp, your favorite, my least favorite, Mel's my favorite. But he was like, "No, dude, this is what's happening," and I think Sean Ross Sapp was the one who tried to tell him, "No, you're doing this," and Malakai's back like, "No, It's me. How you tell me what's going on?
It's
But
me.
yeah, it's me. But he literally just said, I swear to you, like 3 weeks ago, that this wasn't true. And now he's on his way out and he's radio silent. Nonetheless, in the end, as Linkin Park said, it doesn't even matter because he needs to get out of AEW. I don't even think AEW utilized him better. Like, I'll give AEW props on like 2 people they did better than WWE: Swerve Strickland and Miro. And then they failed Miro, but they pushed him better than he was in WWE, in my opinion. Malakai Black never was. Don't get the House of Black twisted. He never had a single run at anything. Dude was wasted. I thought he was better in WWE. I think he needs to go back. I'm excited. Nothing anti-AEW. Some wrestlers work in AEW. Some wrestlers work in WWE, and some vice versa don't. But I think Malakai Black needs to go. I'm excited for it. I do think it'd be cool to have the House of Black too, but I don't think we're getting that. But nonetheless, let him go, and then he can be closer to his gorgeous, beautiful, sexy wife. So props to him.
Yeah. And I think now more than ever, he should go back to WWE with Triple H running the show. Him and Triple H fight when they were in NXT. He's NXT champion for a long time. Probably one of the best champions they've had. And when he struggled was when he was on the main roster with Vince McMahon running the show. But I don't think Triple H will make those same mistakes. And they fired him from WWE when he was in the middle of a program with somebody. I think it was Apollo Crews or somebody, but it was like the next day he was gone. So yeah, I highly anticipate him being in the Royal Rumble or back in the WWE at some point. Maybe NXT. I don't. There's options for him. There's options for him to go anywhere in WWE and thrive. So I think it's going to happen.
They better not put him in the Wyatt Six, who, by the way, why were they not on Raw? Aren't they a big
they will be.
Anyway,
the Miz was coerced by Karrion Kross to fight them, so we'll see them soon. But come on, like don't get us started on the Raw on Netflix.
Don't even. We already did that. Yeah. We're on AEW. All right. So that's the news, right? There's nothing else, right?
That's it. Yeah.
AEW. All right, let's get into Collision, baby. And I didn't know my dumminess is still recording Collision on TNT when now it's on Max. I don't need to record it anymore. I'll just watch it on my Max. But let's go. 2 things, like we said. I don't know if you haven't checked out our WWE edition. If not, we are no longer doing recaps. We're just going to bring up a couple things that we think are important from each episode. Let's go. I first want to bring up the fact, as we agreed on, was Christopher Daniels beating up Hangman Page. Please explain to me, Ryan, how you have a guy who's literally on a tear of whooping ass and taking names as Hangman Page is with the most beautiful mustache known to man, and he gets beat up by a 75-year-old executive and Christopher Daniels and takes it. He didn't fight back. He took that beating and then was like, thank you, and let Christopher Daniels walk away. Make it make sense. How did this help Hangman Page?
I don't know. And then, not to spoil anything, but they didn't do anything. They didn't follow up with it on Dynamite at all. There was no, Hangman Page opened up Dynamite with a match, and there was no
as a badass
from the Fallen Angel. Yeah. There was nothing. Huh? Was all that done to bring back the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels now that he's no longer the interim EVP? Okay, cool. But he's also 68 years old or something. Do we really need him back in AEW? I mean, he was never really the thing in AEW. He's more of a TNA thing. So I don't know. That whole thing was very, very strange. And then again, why? What was the point of it? Now, I know you try to keep Collision and Dynamite separate. So maybe we'll get some answers on tomorrow's episode of AEW Collision, but I feel like it was a missed opportunity. At least not doing a backstage interview with Christopher Daniels or something to kind of explain himself. But yeah, it was this whole story with Page and Daniels has been really weird because it's been very illogical, right? We talk about logic in professional wrestling. As soon as Hangman Page lost at Full Gear, the first thing he did was take out Christopher Daniels. And I remember Tony Schiavone specifically saying, well, I don't know what's next for Hangman Page. He could get a shot at the title, or he's probably going to get a suspension for attacking an executive with AEW. And what happens? He got rewarded with a shot at the title. So it's just huh? And now he's attacking him again. It's all of it's really, really strange. And if you're going to do it, follow up with it on Dynamite.
Yeah. But also don't have a guy who you're promoting as being the super dangerous man just get his ass whooped and not do anything about it. Really stupid. And speaking of stupid, you texted me before I watched Collision and said, you need to watch Collision. It's the greatest ending I've ever seen. And involved in Adam Copeland and Deathriders and some old men. I'll let you break it down. This is your moment to shine.
Oh
you love the Collision ending.
It was cinema.
Let's go. Yeah. It was pure cinema, bruh.
So the main event was... and I almost went to this episode of Collision as well because it was in Charlotte and it was the first episode on Max streaming, but for Collision. But it was Rated FTR versus the Learning Tree. So it was Chris Jericho versus Adam Copeland and Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood again with Big Bill and Bad Apple Brian Keith. Mm-hmm. So that was the main event. And Rated FTR got the win. They got the pin. Cope pinned Chris Jericho. He pinned the Ring of Honor World Champion for whatever reason. So you had a champion get pinned yet again. So that's AEW for you. And then after the match, a camera goes backstage and shows Jon Moxley with the Rock and Roll Express tied up. And I don't even know how they were tied up. They weren't using, it wasn't like ropes.
It was duct tape.
Yeah, it was duct tape. It was like, what? Why are you using like duct tape? But then the Outrunners come up. And they come up to help the Rock and Roll Express, but the Deathriders knock them out. And then, you see Adam Copeland and FTR in the ring, and they're like, okay, we got to go. And they're like, make a beeline, but they're like running I don't know if they're running in slow motion. It took them forever to get back there.
It did.
But my favorite part was Jon Moxley was like grabbing one of the Rock and Roll Express members, and I don't know who it was. I don't know what they were going to do, but Moxley's looking at him. He's about to like punch him or something, and the guy looks at him and says, "You don't have the balls, son." And Moxley like looks at the camera and he's smirking. He's like, "Oh." And then here come the Outrunners, and they run up and the Deathriders take them out, and then here come Adam Copeland and FTR and Jon Moxley and the rest, and Wheeler Yuta and Claudio. They just leave. They just go out the side door, and Jon Moxley didn't have the balls because he didn't do anything to the Rock and Roll Express guy. He didn't do anything. He just like laughed. He was like, and then he went on. And then he escaped. And then Adam Copeland and his acting. Which way did they go? Which way did they go? And then they like charged that.
Yeah.
And that was that's how Collision went off the air. It was very cinematic. Very, you had to go to the Red Box and check this one out as your C-list action movie. Yeah.
You guys still have Red Box?
No, we don't. But it's like a C-list action movie that you'll find on like Tubi or something like that.
Oh my goodness!
It's the feature of the week.
I love it.
Love it. Awful.
My biggest thing is that why did they tie them up and not beat their ass? My thing is they should have had their ass beat.
Yes.
And they should have been beaten up and tied up. Instead, they tied them up to
talking to
them up, but then they ran away because did they not think Cope and the FTR weren't going to run over there to make and why did Cope and FTR, do they have a pass with the Rock and Roll? What was happening? It was stupid. One of the big things, I've been a big advocate on how I like the Deathriders. I think they're like the NWO, blah, blah, blah. I think it's going to be great. I loved how much people have been bringing up how stupid it is because someone was talking about the fact that the announcers even were like, well, Jon Moxley is going to do this because actually, I don't know why Jon Moxley is. If your announcers don't know, it's a miss because they're paid to know. You tell them to know, and they don't. That's not a good thing. This was not a good thing. It was almost as bad as his new name. It was a hot mess. How did they tie them up with duct tape while they weren't beat up?
And they were standing.
Did they let them? I am so confused. Also, get the stupid Outrunners out of my life. The end.
Yeah, right. They were standing up while being. It was so stupid.
All of it.
Yeah.
You don't got the balls. Max is like, I guess I don't.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. All right. Let's get into Dynamite on Max. First thing I want to talk about was the biggest thing that went on, the Casino Gauntlet match. We had Powerhouse Hobbs win in a what? But I like it. I do like to see Powerhouse Hobbs get that, so he gets a title shot against Mox to lose the next week on Dynamite. We had lots of stars in the match. I mean, we had the Adam Coles, baby. We had Double J, I guess the legend. He went to enter, but he got taken out of Yuta beforehand. Casino Gauntlet match. This is the match where people can enter at different times. And whenever you get pinned, you get pinned, so people can actually not physically make it into the match. It happened once with Broderick Strong. And yeah, so what do you think? Did you like this match? Are you good with Hobbs? What do you think of Double J trying to enter the match? Let me hear it, because Yuta was in it.
Yeah, so I didn't understand why Wheeler Yuta was in the match in the first place. And I think you texted me and said that it was to protect John Mox. Yeah, they told us that, but I didn't hear that. And I don't know. It just didn't make any sense to me that he was in the match. So what would have happened if he had won? He would have wrestled John Moxley, I guess, next week at Maximum Carnage. Like
finger poke of doom, homie.
But I didn't mind Powerhouse Hobbs winning. It felt random. It was very random, which random's not always a bad thing. But it felt like the match ended abruptly. It was like, oh, he got the pin. It was like 1, 2, 3. Everyone was like looking around all a little confused. Like, was that supposed to happen?
Like it wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I was like, was that really? Like, did that end abruptly? Did he call an audible? Like, what happened there? and then his promo at the end of the match though was really good. I thought that was the best Powerhouse Hobbs, where he looked at Renee and was like, I'm gonna make John Moxley my bitch. And Renee, the facial expression on Renee was perfect.
So good.
Yeah, she is fantastic. So that sold me on that match alone for next week. I'm excited about it. But I really hope that this is the beginning of a main event run for Powerhouse Hobbs. I hope it's not a one-time thing to where
it is.
He's in the main event next week and then we never hear from him again. Like I want him to be. I know, but I want him to be in that upper mid card, low main event scene for going forward, because he's an original, or he's been with AEW for a while. I don't know if he started with the company,
he's close.
He's close. Yeah. And he started off with Team Taz, and he's somebody that they have missed the book on several times. He was awful in the Powerhouse, and he was in Team Taz, and he kind of was the second in command there. Then he was with QT Marshall for a while, and then he was in the Don Callis family. It's just like he hasn't found his place, and now I hope he can find his place. So I like Powerhouse Hobbs. I like the decision of him winning, if it's to push him and elevate him moving forward. If it's not, then it was just a waste of time. And I'm sick of my time being wasted in professional wrestling lately.
Yeah, true that. I think if he does lose, which he will, at least maybe he's not winning. Keep him around it, and we can keep going. I don't mind the surprise either. I do think it was only because of the fact that Jay White, MJF, Edge, Christian, everybody else and their mom is trying to get it. So then you give it to Hobbs. It just seems like adding another person, but that's not bad. Let Mox defeat some people and go through it and keep it a little bit more surprising on who he's going to fight. And Hobbs at least looks like somebody who could beat Moxley, even though if you're into wrestling, you would know he won't, but he looks like a guy who could. So I do enjoy that. So props to that. With the Double J, let's get into it. After the match, they had him in the ring and he's talking, and then out comes MJF, and basically MJF insults him, but at the same time says, look, I'm going to be the next champion. You get the first shot up. And Double J basically calls him lum nuts or whatever he says. And then he basically says, go eat it, and leaves. But it definitely looks like Double J stated he going to win that championship. And it looks like they're going to feud. Let me know your feelings on all this.
I don't know. I have no clue how I feel about this. Because at first I was like, MJF and Jeff Jarrett, huh? Like this makes no sense. But then I heard the promo and I'm like, okay, like I can get by. Like it makes sense that MJF is trying to cut corners and he's trying to get Jeff Jarrett to win the title and then hand it over to MJF or give him the first shot instead of him having to work it and earn it the way that everyone else has. So I respect that. I did like that, Jeff Jarrett was talking about some of his past demons and that, all the things that he's had to do and overcome. He was talking about being at rock bottom and that he's going to do everything he can to crawl and scratch and fight his way back to the top of the mountain. So I didn't mind the mic work from both guys. I thought it was good. I just don't know how I feel about this feud. I don't know, like, what are they going to have Jeff Jarrett beat MJF and then he gets a title shot? Or is this the Jeff Jarrett story to the AEW World title shot? Or is this MJF's comeback story to the AEW World Championship? I'm really, really torn and confused as to what direction they're going to go here. But I liked the promo battle between both guys. It was better than what we've seen with MJF and Adam Cole recently, and I was happy to see MJF in the ring and in person there. It felt like the MJF of old, so I didn't mind it, but I just don't know where they're going.
Yeah, here's the thing, right? Double J is not Bryan Danielson. The end.
No,
we just did end of the year. Double J is not John Cena, and he's going now. His last year is John Cena's last year. Here's the thing with Double J, right? He was never liked. When he was pushed in WCW, fans hated it. They thought it was all because of Vince Russo. They thought he never deserved it. They thought he was never a championship caliber wrestler, which in my opinion, he wasn't. So then he left and bought his own company because he knew he couldn't thrive in WWE. Started TNA, good for him. Made himself the champion there as well. Double J was never a liked person. So I don't know why Tony Khan, on what planet he thinks that this is something that Double J deserves. He's not really a liked. I mean, who considers Double J anywhere near the top 50 greatest ever? And I said top 50. I don't even think he's top 100 considered. So it was a very weird way to do it. But if you're going to try to push him, and I don't think he's going to win any championships, but I think he'll have championship aspirations and title losses. No one's better than MJF to get it over, right? If you're going to have anybody start off his year that he shouldn't, it's going to be MJF. And I think MJF beating him will show that they don't have any expectation of him getting the championship, but hopefully him trying to overcome odds to get that title shot and kind of be like Rocky 1 against Apollo where he loses, I think was what they're going with. But I did like at least bringing MJF in, because who else would have done it? Couldn't bring Daniel Garcia or someone. I mean, you needed MJF. And what else is MJF doing? So I do like that. And MJF will probably cheat his way also into a title shot, costing Double J or something like that too, which will give MJF more heat and hopefully Double J some praise that he's not really getting. The crowd wasn't really, like I said, Double J is not a loved person. I mean, he's not like beloved. I'm not saying he sucks. I'm just saying he's not like, once again, he's not Bryan Danielson or John Cena in any way, shape, or form. So yeah.
No, I agree. And I'm just curious where this goes. Is this Jeff Jarrett's story? Is this MJF's story? Is this a one and done type feud until we get something else for MJF? Is this going to be the feud of the year for like Hangman? Is this their Hangman swerve? We get Jarrett.
And get out of here with that. Get out of here with that.
Double JF. Are they going to become a tag team now?
Goodness.
But
don't forget, Double J's in the 2 worst matches of all time on AEW. Just so you know, he's in the 2 worst matches ever. I forgot what they were.
Worst matches of all time against Ric Flair, and Ric Flair's last match, he was in that.
Yeah,
and,
no, he's just
right. He's been in some bad ones, some stinkers.
Well, let's get into legends who deserve better. You wanted to talk about this. Adam Copeland cut a promo, then he got his ass beat down by the Deathriders. Let's hear about it. What did you think of this Cope promo? Cope. Say nope to Cope, or don't do Cope. Cope. I don't know. Go ahead.
I liked his promo. I thought this was one of the better Adam Copeland or Cope promos that we've heard in a long time. It was passionate. He was talking about all the times he's gotten back up, like that he's not afraid of Jon Moxley. Like Jon Moxley can kick Darby Allin's head in, he can kick Chuck Taylor's head in, he can kick whoever's head in. But he's had his head kicked in, and he got up. He got back up. He wrestled. He won a match with a broken neck, and what happened 20 minutes later? He finished the match and he got back up. So that was his story, that he's not afraid, and Moxley can't really do anything to him. And that nothing he can do that can phase him. So I did like the promo, and then the Deathriders interrupted it, and that's where the segment took a big nosedive for me, because it just it was like, okay, so he came out, and here come the Deathriders, but then here comes FTR, and things are even now, and like Adam Copeland's looking strong over Moxley, and then they forgot about Pac and Marina Shafir, and Marina Shafir is like standing tall, and then John Moxley's beating the heck out of Adam Copeland, and the segment goes off the air. It was just a very, very strange ending. And then of course Powerhouse Hobbs came out a little too late, and just kind of stared at him, and that's what led them to retreat. So I like that they used it to elevate Powerhouse Hobbs, and again, getting you excited about that match next week. And the promo from Adam Copeland I thought was really good, but everything in between, just like even the fighting to me, I don't like to throw the fake word around, but that fight looked fake. It looked like the punches weren't landing. It was just very, very choreographed, and I just didn't like it.
The one main thing I took out of this was, I was telling you this beforehand, is that when Edge was in WWE, his whole last run, even when he got double pinned by Roman, he was so over, CM Punk over, where he could just come out and fart, and he got the hugest pop of the night. His entrances, he came out on AEW on Dynamite, and it wasn't loud, and I was a little nervous. I was like thinking to myself, like, man, like when I think of like people, like, shoot, like you come from WWE to AEW, like who could they take huge stars? And I was like, okay, CM Punk, and he got big pops and everything, and that worked. And he went back to WWE, and he gets bigger pops than Seth Rollins. And it's like, okay, so he's still over. But Edge, man, when he came out and the pop wasn't big, and everything he said in that promo, it was crickets. And I know a lot of people are going to blame the audience and the crowd, but there were still people there. Like, that was, to me, the most disappointing part, is that our beloved Edge, who is like a top 10, top 20 easily superstar of all time, is vanishing in AEW. I mean, is he? I mean, he can get the title against Mox, sure, but has he been diminished a little bit, or am I just? I just feel like he's not. I mean, he's a WWE Hall of Fame legend, man. Like, that's like Hogan coming out, or not. Let's not say Hogan before, because now he got the big. But that's like The Rock coming. Yeah. That's like The Rock coming to AEW, like just getting a fizzled pop after his couple months being there. It just seems kind of flat for him, and it's really disappointing.
I think it's because he's trying to be Edge, but he's not Edge. And like he's trying to be like, he's trying to, like, hey guys, call me Cope now. Call me Cope. Call me Cope. I'm Cope. I'm Cope. My name's Cope.
I get that.
But yeah, we want him to be Edge. And I just, like, there's part of me that's like, I wish that he could get the copyright of Edge and just go by Edge in AEW. And I think that would solve everything. I think the crowd would be into him again. But it's just like, first he's Adam Copeland, now he's Cope, but he's wearing a shirt that says Legend, LEDGEND. And it's just like, I think he wants so badly to be Edge. And that would solve all these problems. Yeah, he is. We call him Edge. And it's it's not a disrespect. It's not like, some actors don't like it when you call them by their character name, but he is Edge. He's Edge. And
but for like 20 years, right?
Yeah.
I mean that's different than being Ross for 10. I mean, that's 20 years Edge. Yeah.
And then it's year round. Like, he's only Ross for like 22 episodes, and then he's and he films David 6 of them in a day. Yeah. So so he's Edge like year round. And I think that's the problem, is he's coming in and he's trying to be Edge, but he's Adam Copeland and he's not Edge. And I think it's losing the crowd a little bit. I don't know. That's just a theory I have.
Well, someone who didn't lose the crown, that was a returning Kenny Omega. He returns to close the show. He has a nice little stare down with Will Ospreay, and Dave Meltzer jizzed in his pants. So what did you think? Did you dig the Kenny Omega return? Are you happy? Did we have to tease that he wasn't going to return? Why do we have to do that every single time a guy's returning from an injury? I'm sad to say that I'm coming back. Yeah. Y'all thought I was coming out here for now. Like, you just wrestled 3 days ago in Japan. Don't act like AEW doesn't promote that. It's not WWE. We knew you. Like, let's stop. Yeah. But what'd you think? Did you like it? What'd you think? Blah, blah, blah. Him and Ospreay. Let's go.
Okay. I want to say this, that I am happy that Kenny Omega is back.
100%.
And I think he can be the shot in the arm that AEW needs. And right now you have a roster of Kenny Omega, MJF, Adam Cole, Adam Copeland, Christian Cage, Swerve Strickland. They're all healthy for the first time in a long time. So you have a star-studded roster, and Kenny Omega's at the top of that. Will Ospreay too. So I'm happy about that. That's fantastic. Bobby Lashley's up there. So fantastic stuff.
We got them all, brother. Yeah.
So star-studded lineup in AEW if they use them all correctly and everything. So he can be the shot in the arm that AEW really, really needs. But I'm not going to lie. I was a little disappointed in his promo. I was a little disappointed in everything that happened, only because I got duped and I didn't watch his match over the weekend in New Japan, but I watched his press conference. And in his press conference, he was sitting there like a bloody mess, similar to how CM Punk looked after the brawl, before Brawl In, when he was just ripping on AEW. And he was a heel in that press conference in New Japan. I don't know if you've seen the clip, but he was just he was talking about like his, my friend, the only friend that I have is banished, and everyone's banished from this country, and I don't have any friends here, and I can't, like, he was a heel Kenny Omega, and I was like, if we get this Kenny Omega in AEW, it's fantastic. Like, I want this version of Kenny Omega in AEW. That I'm not here for power. I don't give a shit about I'm just here to fight, and I want to fight. Like, it was great stuff. So I was like, okay, we're going to get this version of Kenny. And then he comes out and he's like, hey guys, I'm Kenny Omega. I'm back. And, I almost didn't make it back. And they took out 22 feet of my intestine, and 22 inches rather of my intestine.
I was like, beat him.
Yeah, good for him. And, but yeah, and I almost couldn't walk, and I had to learn how to use the toilet again. I was just like, I don't know. Like, I was expecting that Kenny Omega that we got in New Japan over the weekend. And then when he came back at World's End, he teased a match with Okada, and they didn't deliver on that at all either. And him and Ospreay, that's going to be a great match. Don't get me wrong. I'm excited about it, but that's a New Japan rivalry. Like, I want fresh rivalries in AEW. And I just listed off the entire AEW roster that they could choose from. And you go with Ospreay. I get that they're trying to sell tickets for their next event and everything, and that match will do it. But yeah, I was just a little disappointed in the promo that we got from Kenny Omega. The music was great. The pop was great. Everything was great. But
he got a bigger pop than Cope. Yeah. I agree with you, and we need him back, but I don't want him and Will Ospreay yet. Let's move. I'm still sick of putting the same type of wrestlers together. We don't have, this isn't the cruiserweight division. Let's move. Let's get him in the main event and doing his big thing. And plus, they're both baby faces. I get that in AEW there are no baby faces and heels, but there's not when they don't want it to be because they think they're smarter than the fans, like Triple H and The Rock's promo. But let's stop with that. Like, they're both baby faces. We don't need the tease. We don't need any of that. And we also don't need Don Callis back. Why are we bringing Kenny Omega back to feud with the person he's been like? We can move on from the Don Callis family and Kenny Omega. Why are we back? We don't have to. AEW always goes back to the well, and it's sad. Kenny Omega should just start all over. Let's see what he's going to do. Let's have him feud with other people. Move him on. He's a huge star. He has been a huge star. Continue him to be that huge star. Like you said, everyone is healthy for the first time ever. Let's go. You're on Max. Let's go. Push this damn product to the moon like you did in your first 2.5 years. So yeah, that's my take.
Yeah. And I've seen people say that Kenny Omega should be the one to take the belt off of Moxley and just let him run with it. But there's another thing. Like, he's still an EVP. So he should have gotten involved with the Moxley storyline and be like, hey, like, why are you guys doing what you're doing? Why are you guys doing your thing? Like, what is going on with you guys? So I just wish that there was a little bit more follow-up and logic in the AEW stories that they tell. So that's kind of my 2 cents on the whole thing.
Yeah, I agree. I fully agree. Sorry, I was also talking to my son, but I was listening to you.
No worries.
Yeah. All right, so that's it. That was our week in AEW. I actually thought it was a pretty good week. I mean, it's not always going to hit. But
this might be a quick hot take, but I thought AEW Dynamite was a solid episode from start to finish and was better than Raw on Netflix. I'll say that. Yeah.
I fully agree. Maybe it's because it was for the hardcore fans. All right.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. On our WWE edition that you might have already seen, we did our New Year's resolutions. We're doing that again for AEW. We're each going to do 2 things. We'll start with Ryan. He'll give me his 2. I'll give my 2. New Year's resolutions are what we are hoping to see in AEW in 2025. Let's go, my man.
So I just listed off a number of people that Kenny Omega could face and everything. I want AEW to give us rivalries. I want true rivalries, and I think that can help boost the company as well. I want to see the Hurt Syndicate versus the Deathriders. Just give it to me, because they're kind of the same thing. The Hurt Syndicate's there to make money, so have somebody pay to take out John Moxley or Claudio and Pac. Like that would be. I think that would be great. I want to see Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. Like I want that rivalry to continue. I want a babyface MJF against a heel Christian Cage. I want them to promo. I want I want a mic battle. Give me Swerve and MJF having a feud. When MJF was champion, it was ridiculous that we never got MJF and Kenny Omega. I know we had a match one time randomly on an episode of Collision, but we never got like an actual rivalry between MJF and Kenny Omega and MJF and the Young Bucks and everything like that. So I want Adam Cole to take on the Death Rider. I want Adam Cole, John Moxley. Like I want rivalries in AEW. We got it last year with Swerve and Hangman and Mariah May and Toni Storm. I want more of that on the men's side this year. And you have the roster to do it. And I think, again, you want to try to boost ratings, give us something to care about. And I think adding some feuds. Give me Swerve and MJF. Give me Christian Cage and MJF. Give me Kenny Omega and MJF. Like, just give me the rivalries. Make it happen.
Yeah. Well said. This also should have been said in 2023 and 2024. Now in 2025, but well said. I mean, rivalries are so important that WWE has a whole A&E special on it called WWE Rivalries, where they talk about all the rivalries. Yeah. Here's the thing, right? You named 2 rivalries of AEW last year. That's all they had. Mariah May, Toni Storm, Swerve and Hangman. No others. WWE named rivalries. They had thousands. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean,
some of the
rivalries. Yeah.
Some of the best stuff that AEW's ever done. MJF versus CM Punk. It was a rivalry. It was, they had 3 matches against each other.
Yep.
And so I want more of that stuff. Rivalries.
I agree.
You're on Max now. Do like a rivalry series and kind of, give us some of the rival match, similar to what WWE does on the network. Like you said, WWE rivals. Have AEW rivals and give me a reason to care about AEW. I don't want New Japan rivals. I don't want Okada. And I want Okada and AEW and Kenny Omega and AEW. I want that rivalry. So
agreed.
Give me rivals.
Good one. All right, what's your second? That was a good one.
Oh, storytelling. You gotta fix the storytelling. You gotta give us a reason to care. You gotta give us a reason to be invested. Have a beginning, a middle, and an end of a story. I feel like AEW always has a good beginning of a story, and they always have sometimes they have a good middle, but they have no end. This Deathriders thing right now had a great beginning, and I feel like we're kind of nearing the end, but have we gotten to the middle yet? Have we gotten to the reason as to why? We don't really know why they're doing what they're doing. The Elite thing with Tony Khan last year could have been a really great story, and it just kind of fizzled out when Tony, for whatever reason, nobody seemed to care about it anymore. And just have a beginning, a middle, and an end. This whole thing with Toni Storm, I am really worried that Toni Storm's going to win this women's battle royal. And I know she didn't win the match to be number 1, but I think she's going to, and we're going to get Mariah May, Toni Storm again, but it's going to be too soon to have it because they don't have a middle. They have a beginning and an end, but no middle. And I think it's too soon to bring back timeless Toni Storm. So I just want them to work on their storytelling from beginning to end. And you want to fix the ratings, you want to fix the attendance, give us rivalries, and give us compelling storytelling. And a lot of your problems, not all of them, but a lot of your problems will be solved.
I mean, the end. I don't have to say mine. We can just close up the show. That was good.
Yeah. Good night, everybody.
But that's what we want. And I know the AEW hardcores don't want that, but it is what you want. You need to cater to more than just you guys. They need to cater to all. Professional wrestling is rivalries and storytelling. It always has been, always will be.
Yeah.
So, well said. Mine are a little bit more individual. You ready?
Yeah.
My first one, Christian Cage needs to be the world champion this year.
Yes.
Now, I know, well, they need to push young talent. You can't say no. But here's the thing, right? Nothing pushes a young star more than defeating the villain. Christian Cage needs to cheat to win the belt. He needs to cheat to keep it. And finally, when he gets his comeuppance, that babyface is going to be the hero. And it is perfect. And Christian Cage will build it perfectly, set it up perfectly, and take the pin perfectly. Also, Christian Cage has helped carry this company when nobody else could. He has been flipping phenomenal. And I think, in my opinion, has made himself the biggest heel in the history of professional wrestling. I truly will say he is number one, more than Piper, more than anybody else. He is the biggest heel of all time. Christian Cage deserves a world championship run, and it needs to be in 2025 when he cashes in on whoever that may be. So that's my number one New Year's resolution.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And I think John Moxley should lose to Adam Copeland, and that's when Christian Cage cashes in his contract on Adam Copeland. And, then you continue that rivalry for a little bit, but let Christian Cage win and then build somebody else up on the side.
I agree. All right, my number two, here it goes. I don't know if you guys remember this guy, but Wardlow needs to be not only brought back, but also pushed to title shots and be a main star. 2.5 years ago, I believe now, he was in a rivalry with MJF. He was legitimately bigger than Goldberg was in his WCW days. This guy he was the biggest star in all of professional wrestling. Tony Khan said, no, thank you. Get the heck out of my company. And he has been dead ever since. What a waste of talent. Supposedly he's injured. Wink, wink. He needs to come back, needs to be pushed. Title shots, main star. That is my second New Year's resolution for AEW. Push this man. As Ryback would say, feed him more.
Yeah, I love that. I miss Wardlow. I want him back. I want him back with MJF as a heel, as his enforcer. Just whatever gets him on TV. That's what got him over in the first place. If you have to go back to the beginning, go back to the beginning. Bring him back, pair him with MJF, make him a heel, and then have him break off that way. But he squashed MJF. He didn't just
squashed him.
He squashed him. And you squandered this opportunity with Wardlow. And I know some of it's health, but yeah,
not during that time.
Yeah,
100%. He has everything. He's like Brian Cage, total package for sure. Yeah. All right. That's it for our New Year's resolutions. And now it is time to get into our favorite weekly segment. That is LVD and MVD, which is the least valuable dude or dudette and the most valuable dude or dudette of the week of AEW. As always, we start with the least valuable dude or dudette. Ryan enjoys wrestling. Who do you got?
This one's hard. But I'm going to... I don't know. I'm going to go with... you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to go Adam Copeland. I thought that, and not just Adam Copeland, but I'll give it to FTR, and I'll give it to the Outrunners, and I'll give it to Rock and Roll Express. I'll give it to I'll give it to Tony Khan. Whoever thought that ending on Collision was good, and whoever thought, oh, this will be fantastic. This is cinema. This is aura. This is what we want. They all need it. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but I'm going to go Adam Copeland. Just, his matches have been great since he came back. He got a big win over the Deathriders. He got a big win over the Learning Tree. So he's winning, but just something is missing. The promos and everything else, it feels like he's trying to be Edge. And we call it, you said it offline, his entrance is too much like Edge, and he's Adam Copeland, and it's a Temu version. And so something's missing. And then the whole segment with the Deathriders this week, where he's talking about getting back up, and then he gets his ass kicked by the Death. It was just, yeah. And then everything just took a nosedive. So I'm going to give it to Adam Copeland and FTR and the Outrunners and everybody involved in that whole story right now.
I mean, fantastic pick, and you hated that segment enough to pick them, so I'm all for it. Mine is one that we didn't want to. We were going to talk about, and we didn't, but they are my least valuable dudes, and that is Private Party. And nothing against them, but are they even important? Here's my thing with Private Party. They had a match against Leo Rush and Action Andretti. It did not feel important at all. They didn't make them a main attraction. They didn't make them feel good, like I should care about them. Then they went on a Dynamite and they had a party, which was embarrassing, with water that they were serving out of things, pretending like it was champagne and such. And the Hurt Syndicate come out to celebrate with them and then basically go, oh, we're celebrating the fact that we're going to win the belt, pour your water out, walk away. And they just stood there and took it like biatches and felt super unimportant. And here's my thing. When I was telling you this, I don't even know their names, dude. I just know them as Private Party. And that says something because I watch AEW every week and I promote them on a podcast and so on. I couldn't tell you what their names are. Is that my fault? No, that is the announcer's fault. Every time tag teams come out, WWE announcers say their name. The Usos, Jay and Jimmy. They'll say A-Town Down Under with Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. Waller with they just consider them as one big bundle. It's sad. They are not important at all. They are probably the least important champions of all of AEW history. And it's a shame because you did right by taking it off the Young Bucks to give it to a young and upcoming group. But now you're just basically letting them drown, and they're probably going to drop it their Hurt Syndicate and will never even remember, just like another tag team who took it over a group that was very famous, and that's the Guns. What have the Guns done since they were the tag? People don't even remember they were the tag team champions. I feel like that's where we're going with Private Party. Not their fault, but they are the least valuable dude, and not even just least valuable in my opinion, in Tony Khan's opinion, because they're treated like shit. So
yeah, no, that's a solid pick, and I think you're right. I think Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin are winning those tag team titles, and I think they're going to hold them for a long time. And Private Party is just going to be a blip on the radar. And it was, I like how they took the belts off of the Young Bucks. They've been there. They're AEW originals. They've been there since day one-ish. And this is how their title reign is going to end. And it's just been very lackluster. And that's what I'm saying with stories. Give us a reason to care. Give us stories, and then I wouldn't be so mad about this. But it felt random for them to put the belts on them in the first place, and now they're going to lose them randomly to the Hurt business, to the Hurt Syndicate. So if there's a story that comes out of it, I'm all for it. But I don't feel like there will be.
I don't think so either. All right, let's end on a positive. Who is your most valuable dude or dudette of the week?
I'm gonna give it to Powerhouse Hobbs, MVD, for winning the Casino Gauntlet Battle Royal and getting a shot at Jon Moxley in the world title. But not only that, but he helped Adam Copeland at the end. He shook hands with Jarrett, so he is embracing this babyface role that he's on. I think, again, if they do this right, they could have a new star on their hands if they do this right. And I want him to be in the main event scene going forward. I don't want this to be a one-hit wonder, a one-time thing. I know the main event scene is really crowded right now with Jay White, Adam Page, Swerve Strickland hanging around, Christian Cage having the contract, and Adam Copeland feuding with them right now. But still, you have room for Powerhouse Hobbs in that main event scene. Put some gold around his waist and let this man fly him to the moon and push him, because he is great. He's a big guy, and he can go in the ring. So let's push him.
Yeah, fully agree. He was also my most valuable dude of the week, Powerhouse Hobbs. Well said. I mean, even though it was a surprise and a shocker, that made it feel even more important. And they did make him feel important, unlike Private Party, throughout the rest of the show. So cheers to him. Good job to Powerhouse Hobbs. He deserves it. Now push Wardlow. I wanted to say really quick, too, Toni Storm had a great week. We didn't talk about her on either show, but she won a match, felt really important, did a backstage thing where she was like so surprised that they had catering. She was like loading up her purse with it. She was like so excited. Yeah. And then she lost, and like to see who gets to come out first in the gauntlet or whatever it was. She's not out of it. But then she like,
stripes, man. She's a rookie.
And she was, and that's what she said. She was basically like, I didn't deserve to win anyway. I'm just Toni Storm, and ain't always going to be Tony time. Phenomenal stuff. She is literally carrying, once again, AEW with anything important. Props to Toni Storm. But yeah, Powerhouse Hobbs, most valuable dude, for sure.
It was a good week. And going back to the Toni Storm thing, I said it a minute ago, but don't rush this story with this reunion between her and Mariah May. Like, let Mariah May have other feuds. Don't have Toni Storm in the gauntlet match next week at all. Don't have her.
She's gonna be though, right? I think so. But
don't have her win it, because then then there's gonna be Toni Storm versus Mariah May. We're gonna get the timeless gimmick back. It's too soon for that. Like, let this story build a little bit longer, because she's doing great work.
She is. I fully agree. All right. We did it. We're back, baby. No more misses. That's what we said. Two Dudes with Attitudes is back. That was our AEW edition. AEW, keep it up. Good job. I got to say, though, now I'm kind of upset that SmackDown's on USA. I like watching Raw on Netflix. I like watching AEW on Max. I think they should all be streamed. Let's get with it. But stop with the 3-hour shit, WWE. 2 hours only. But with that said, as always, thank you for tuning in, commenting, subscribing. We're getting watches again. We need a lot more views, but we are getting them. You guys are still tuning in and appreciating it. We're getting more likes. Let's keep those going. If you enjoy us, please help us out. And as always, if you just like hearing me talk, currently I'm still on TikTok, but I'm also on all the social medias that you see right there at my_wrestling_opinion on everything you want to see. If you just want to hear me yappity yap. And with me, as always, is my brother from another mother.
It's Ryan Enjoys Wrestling. I'm also on all the same social platforms, so go follow me on all of them. Go follow us on YouTube at Two Dudes with Attitudes, and subscribe. We're trying to blow up there. That's probably going to be our new home, or our forever home going forward. With we don't know what's happening with TikTok, so go follow us there. We're growing and blowing up, and we need all the love and support we can get. And then subscribe on Spotify and Apple if you haven't done so already. So go hit us up there, leave us a 5-star rating and review. Tell everyone about your favorite two dudes on the internet, and we appreciate all the love and support. And 2025, man, it's going to be our year. We're gonna make this thing happen this year. I promise you that.
We keep saying it. Two Dudes Wolfpack. Thank you. We out.
Two dudes with attitudes. Let's go. Two dudes with attitudes. Let's go. Two dudes and our attitudes ruthless, aggressively speaking, so let's do this. We're riding.